My name is Jimmy. You Harriet. I've been blind 5 years now after an accident. And one thing to know is I'm completely blind. I have no vision whatsoever. And I'm very open and fire away with any questions from wherever you hear this. They will find a way to notify me.
Will you just talk about some of the unique challenges that you face in your day-to-day life?
There's a lot, I'd say. I currently just moved. I used to live with my parents, and I realized how much they've done and helped me throughout this journey. But now that I moved out and live on my own, come up with a whole bunch of new tasks that I need to accomplish. For one, grocery shopping. I do grocery shopping still with help from my parents, but um, like groceries, perishable goods expiring, milk, a whole bunch of other foods that expire. It's hard to read and to for my phone to be able to read the expiration dates on meats and whatnot. So I have gotten sick from that. Sure, I can try to record and memorize everything, but it gets hard, and I always need somebody to tell me what the date is. That's been a huge problem. Another thing is cooking. As far as cooking is the scary to set a fire because I can't smell, which is kind of different because I'm not like every other individual. But I can't smell, so I can't smell a fire, and that kind of scares me. And also, fire extinguisher, fire blanket, things of that sort, protect the wiring from the toaster because that melts. Those are all little tasks that I have to deal with on a daily basis and be careful of. Um, I would say those are huge problems. And another is taking the garbage out because I live in a condo apartment. It's a 30-unit complex, and I have to walk these garbage bags out, and it's kind of a pain in the butt and a hassle. And I wish I'd have a cart that I could just not tow but push in front of me, and maybe even use the cart as a cane to guide me. But I don't know. I haven't come up with that yet, but I feel like that could be to solve that issue. Um, Other things also is in the shower. Taking a shower is putting the shampoo, the body cream, all that. It has to be in meticulous order, so I always know which is which. But and also it becomes very slippery in the shower. Those bottles fall and they fall on my feet. That could cause a lot of hurt and pain, and I wouldn't have anybody to help to call 911 or any of that sort if I do get hurt. That's another issue. Um, there's very and another one is cleaning. Don't ask a blind man to clean because I don't do very good. So I'm told. But yeah, that's another issue. And sure um there's vacuums that go on their own, but that's a trip hazard. There's a lot of little things to keep in mind that don't come. And for those listening, I want them to keep in mind that this has just been my experience. I am kind of an anomaly. I've been able to rebound. I've been very resilient, and Project Invent has been a great help with all that in my recovery. But my experience may be different from another blind person, so that's very important to keep in mind. Um, yes.
Thanks. I think, talking about some of your, accomplishments and some of the ways that you've found ways to adapt there, in your unique story. One of the biggest ones is you just recently moved into a new place. Can you talk about what that has been like for you, both challenges and successes along the way?
Yeah. As far like when it comes to moving in and the little challenges, the other thing is leaving lights on, running up the bill. Because I can't see. I don't need the lights on all the time. And I've come up with little ways like for certain lights, I just touch the light bulb, but sucks if the light bulb's hot. But it's learning. I know, okay, that light's on. I better turn it off because I flick those things. I bump into the walls. I bump into the switches. What I've done also is put a dot below the switches to tell me that they're in the off position. So I have a reference. That doesn't always work though. So I just go around before I go to bed every night to make sure all the lights are off. But still, somehow, sometimes I manage to hit it in the morning or something and get home from work, and that the lights still could still be on. Um, so that's one way I've come up with helping. And the other is ranch, ketchup, barbecue sauce, all that stuff that goes into the fridge. How to organize it? Sure, some may feel a little bit different, but some are bottles are kind of the same, you know. And I've just come up with meticulous ways of where I put it, where it goes, and kind of anal about it. And so when people come over, even when there's drinks in my fridge, the soda's there, the milk's there, the orange juice is there. It's very organized, and in the freezer too. Um, Breads and stuff like that, I can't see the mold. And that's another thing why I'm different. I can't really taste mold. That's a whole other subject, but um, those are little challenges, you know. And as far as me getting to work and waiting outside, I have to deal with not so much going to work because coming home, I have an address where I get picked up, so it's easier for the drivers to locate me. But I'm out and about, I have to give an address, like say I'm at work or at a grocery store or somewhere else. The drivers have to find me, and that becomes a big pain. And being in trying to be independent, you know. So I do have a fluorescent cap that I put on to be found easier, but that also makes me a target. Because here's another thing in this world you got to keep in mind: disabled people, especially a blind individual, a young guy like me, um, become an easy target, you know, and that's a little scary part of it too.
Awesome. Yeah, you've given us a lot of ideas of kind of the unique challenges you face, as well as the kind of tips and tricks that you've come up with along the way. Anything else you would add, to somebody listening that we maybe haven't talked about yet? Any other areas that you would love to see, a need filled, that kind of thing?
Um, yeah, there's my biggest gripe, and I know this could be changed with technology, but that goes back to bureaucracy. Is the way us, not just blind people but disabled people, get around. People in wheelchairs. There's so many of them out there. So many of us disabled people that can't drive, blind people, whatever. We use what's called paratransit, and paratransit, it's all over the United States. It's for disabled individuals to, when they get anywhere, like if I fly to Chicago, I could get picked up over there at the airport. And I pay a small sum to be able to use this transport, because it's funded by our tax dollars, federal tax dollars. And this transport sucks in so many ways. And there's reason why it sucks, but there is ways to make it better. There's plenty of ways to make it better. We could use technology. What about Lyft? What about Uber? Why can't we create something like that for disabled individuals? Okay, sure, you could go ahead and state some have the handicap, they can't use the technology. Where there's a will, there is a way. We could find out. Regardless, by creating an application, creating something, maybe if the good people, good Samaritans want to help at an unlimited budget, there's ways to make this better. I go to work using this transit system. I'm late. I work 5 days a week. I'm late 4 days out of the week. I get it, but I take it's a blessing, yes, to have this system in place to be able to get around. But if you look at the bureaucracy behind it and the politics that go into our tax dollars funding this, I'm not going to get into it over this interview, but that's a lot of it where the gripe comes from. This is where I feel like us as citizens and people, we can create something for disabled peoples to get around, that on timely and orderly. Put it this way, you know how hard it is for some of them to find a blind man? You know how many times I've had to wait outside with my stick in the air, waving it like an idiot? It's happened. And but that could go away with technology. If I have an application that finds me where I'm at directly with GPS. There's reasons why paratransit doesn't have that, but like I said, I'm not going to get into it. But that is probably one of my biggest gripes, and one subject I know we can improve on in some way, in some shape or form.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jimmy. This was great.
Yeah.